At approximately 3:30 Central Time this morning, my number one source in the United States SWAT team officially raided the campus of Texas Tech. And guys, I've got great news. My number one source has officially rescued Calvin Simpson-Hunt. Guys, if you don't know, I reported this on Tuesday. Calvin Simpson-Hunt was ready and willing to commit to Ohio State, but Texas Tech was extremely desperate, and they actually had Calvin kidnapped. But guys, my number one source has officially rescued him. And to celebrate this great occasion, Calvin Simpson-Hunt is expected to flip his commitment from Texas Tech to Ohio State, and that's going to give the Buckeyes 3 extremely good cornerbacks. And guys, I want to talk about the latest intel I've heard on the current cornerback situation for the class of 2023. Talk about some of the guys they missed on. Talk about my overall feelings on the cornerback class, because this is going to be their 3rd commit, and we expect Calvin Simpson-Hunt to flip his commitment very, very soon. It could be as early as today. Calvin Simpson-Hunt will flip from Texas Tech to Ohio State. He wanted to flip on Monday, but he had the incident. My number one source rescued him, guys. We got to give him a big shout out. He's been unbelievable. But guys, when it comes to this Ohio State cornerback class, some people may say it's a little bit underwhelming, but these are 3 really good corners when you're talking about Dijon Johnson, Kyan Lee, and Calvin Simpson-Hunt. And remember, yesterday I talked about all of the Ohio State commits rankings. Both Dijon Johnson and Kyan Lee are severely underranked by 247 Sports, meaning when 247 Sports does their major summer rankings update, which is happening in mid-July, we're expecting both Johnson and Kyan Lee to rise considerably. Johnson could become a top 70 prospect in the composite. Kyan Lee very likely will be probably around a top 100 prospect. So those are 2 possible top 100 players. And then Calvin Simpson-Hunt, who's no slouch in his own right. He's a top 200 player that many programs were chasing. If you guys are unfamiliar with his recruitment, he committed to Texas Tech early on, blew up, and now he's had all the major programs come at him trying to flip him. So these are 3 really good commits. Obviously, the thing that happened with A.J. Harris, you know, people around Ohio State, I've heard a lot of Ohio State fans saying if Kerry Combs was still the coach, the Buckeyes would land the 5-star. I'll be honest, I don't think Ohio State ever had much of a chance with A.J. Harris once the NIL teams got involved. This was a kid that was from the state of Alabama. Originally, it looked like Ohio State and Clemson were leading for him, and then Florida. Once Florida's NIL collective went completely off the rails, he ends up at Georgia. To me, he's an NIL kid, and I think Ohio State didn't have much of a chance at him. Is he a great corner? Yes. But people have to remember, Ohio State, much of their defensive staff is newly hired. So these guys are going to have to prove themselves. You're not always going to land 5-stars. And A.J. Harris, more of an NIL type kid. Ohio State did a great job pivoting from him and being able to land 3 really good corners. And then the other guy, Daniel Harris, that's another kid that's very likely going to Georgia. If you guys don't know, Daniel Harris is going to end up being a top 50 overall player in the country. He's a late bloomer. He's an absolute beast, 6'2", 175. So Georgia gets 2 really good cornerbacks. But again, you're not always going to land everyone. But right now, Ohio State is in position to get 3 really good cornerbacks. And we've got major intel regarding the 4th guy they are chasing. It's going to be an absolutely crazy July. But guys, we've got a major update on Cormani McClain, the number 3 overall player. And guys, my number 1 source is in the process right now of writing a 500-page autobiography on Cormani McClain's entire life that we expect to appear on the New York Times bestsellers list in the coming months. And my number one source, the latest intel we've got, Ohio State will be chasing him as the cherry on top for this cornerback class. Right now, he's got a top two of Alabama and Ohio State. Florida was leading for him until their NIL collective became a complete dumpster fire. This will be a recruitment worth following right now. I have to be honest, Alabama does have the edge in this recruitment. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I'm being honest with you guys, but Ohio State is certainly in it. They've got to get him in for an official visit, preferably that week 1 game versus Notre Dame. It's a 7:30 game, so we can play on Friday night, fly out to Columbus, and week 1, you want him visiting, or maybe the last game of the regular season against Michigan. Those are the 2 dates we're kind of throwing around, and we will see. But these are 3 really good cornerback prospects. Ohio State obviously has Kyan Lee committed. They've got Dijon Johnson committed, and they are about to flip the commitment of Calvin Simpson-Hunt. What an amazing job by this Ohio State defensive staff. Ryan Day is on an absolute mission right now. He's on a complete warpath. He's so pissed. According to my number one source, after last year, after Ohio State lost to Michigan, this dude is angry, and Ohio State is completely blowing Michigan out of the water when it comes to recruiting, which is hilarious considering Michigan just beat Ohio State, but they still can't even come close to Ohio State in terms of recruiting. Guys, these are 3 really good cornerbacks. The month of July is going to be absolutely epic. We've got Calvin Simpson-Hunt on flip watch. We've got Jermaine Matthews on commitment watch. He's announcing his commitment tomorrow, I believe at noon. Don't quote me on that. I don't know exact, maybe noon or 1. Jermaine Matthews will be in the class, and we will talk about him and why he's so underrated. And there's already recruiting sites out there that have said, we're bumping Jermaine Matthews up significantly because he went to an LSU camp and people were like, this kid's a 5-star. I'm not saying he's going to be bumped to a 5-star, but you look at Jermaine Matthews, people are going to be pissed tomorrow because he's not ranked in the top 300. Guys, he's going to get a massive bump. They've already said he's getting a bump when they do, all these recruiting sites do their updates. Jermaine Matthews, we've got John Walker, we've got Jason Moore, Caleb Downs towards the end of the month of July. There are major defensive prospects right now that Ohio State is extremely close to landing the commitments for. And guys, at the end of July, I've said this before, on August 1st, Ohio State will at least have 20, probably 21 commits at least. This is how Ryan Day and Ohio State like doing recruiting. They like getting most of their class done by the start of August. So you really can focus on the season. You know, Ohio State, one of the top teams, possibly the number 1 favorite to win the national title. You want to focus on the season. Get all your players to announce in July. It's going to be a crazy July. We just had Notre Dame pass Ohio State for the number 1 overall class. I said in a previous video, this is what we expected. Ohio State and Notre Dame were going to go back and forth. Texas has now entered the picture a little bit, but Texas's average is a lot lower. I do think they will process guys and go for bigger players because now that they have Arch Manning, they've got the NIL funds working. We saw the crystal ball for Cedric Baxter Jr. He's a total NIL, so Texas and their boosters are paying big money, and Texas is back. That's confirmed. But guys, Ohio State is set up for a major defensive haul in the month of July, and it could kick off as early as today with Calvin Simpson-Hunt flipping his commitment from Texas Tech to Ohio State after my number 1 source went in and rescued him from the alleged kidnapping by the Texas Tech staff. Unbelievable situation, absolutely historic. And guys, we also have the quarterback situation that is developing. Austin Novosad is reportedly putting on an absolute show at the Elite 11. He's right now the 4th overall quarterback. 247 Sports is already saying he's due for a major rankings bust. So in the event that Austin Novosad flips his commitment from Baylor to Ohio State, he is expected to receive a major bump and possibly become a top 200 player in the overall composite. Remember, Rivals, who just updated their rankings, gave Novosad a bump of over 100 spots, and Ryan Day has zeroed in on Austin Novosad as the Ohio State Buckeyes quarterback in the class of 2023. It's not a pressing need because you've got Devin Brown in 2022, you've got Dylan Raiola in 2024, but every single year, Ryan Day wants to add at least one quarterback, and Austin Novosad is quickly turning into an absolute elite prospect. That is a developing situation we're going to continue to watch. But guys, there's major stuff. Calvin Simpson-Hunt officially on Flip Watch right now. That's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.